up missionary programs. And I thought that that was just a good lead-in, simply because what I want to talk about is establishing a mission program. And so that's my copy. Huh?
You ought to know what you got to say.
I'll send you one. Okay. It's on the USB. There you go. So I know a lot of us have mission programs going on at our churches, and we often think of mission programs as ventures that have to do with something overseas. We see a lot of that, okay? And we see a lot of things on television, you know, the little starving children over in Africa and places like that. And if you click the first slide, I pulled something from the Abcott's website. So that's why I was so tickled that you showed actually something that we do in Abcott's. And the first one, we have things that we do. Click it one more time. We have things that we do both on the foreign scale. And that picture was taken from something that we do overseas. And if you click it one more time, Dr. Jones, we have some things that we do nationally. That is part of the United States, though certain people in the United States don't think that it's part of the country. I'm not going to call any names, but Puerto Rico is part of the United States. There, all right? And that was taken from the Abcott's website. Now, if you go to the next slide, you'll see what our objectives are to this. I want to look at some ways to develop a website. Click it one more time. There are a couple of things we want to look at. How to effectively to develop. So you got to click it one more time. To effectively develop some mission projects. And each of our churches and our communities are unique. Now, if you think about that, all of our churches, they all have a different flavor, a different look. If you go to any of the churches here, for example, all of our churches are different in some kind of way. All right? They all have something that's unique about it. Each of our church communities is different. All right? Berryville is a little different than Charlestown. Charlestown's a little different than Lovely Valley. Lovely Valley is a little different than Roanoke. Roanoke's a little different than Bedford, and vice versa. I could go on and on and on. One time. Oh, you got a clicker. Oh, man. Okay. Each of our community churches has a different culture and personality. Every church has a personality. All right? Every one of our churches has a personality. Some of the personalities in the Piedmont are closer in similarity than the churches in the Winchester Semi-Annual, although we all have a slightly different flavor than any other area of ABC USA. Area 7 is unique to any other area in Abcott's, and we are, as an area, unique to ABC USA. We are totally different. All right? In fact, we're the oldest area of APCOTS. Now, one of the things that I want to point out on that, the way we sing, for example, we got songs that we sing, don't nobody else sing. All right? We got some songs that have roots that go back into slavery. All right? They have a different flair. Even though we've got some churches that are in other areas in the Deep South, they don't sing them like we sing them. We started different than most of those other churches. Okay? Well, you follow along. I'm with you, man. We started differently. Most of the churches in this area were started as mission projects after the Civil War. Okay? Most of us, we know the history. When we have Founders Day, we look at our history that we go through every time we meet for Founders Day. We talk about how we were started after slavery so that the churches could worship of their own free will, which we stopped using because of another denomination which calls itself the Free Will Baptist. Whole different doctrine. Foot washing, bishops, whole different doctrine. All right? That's why we stopped using it. We are missionary Baptists. And as you saw, when you saw the presentation, we are a mission-conscious denomination. And when we went to APCOTS, as you saw, and the whole concept now, and I really like that, of doing things, even at the convention, we're about doing mission things. And when I was sharing with a pastor friend of mine in another denomination this morning, I says, I'm going to our association, I'm doing a workshop on how to develop mission projects. And before I could finish, he says, I want you to go to Uganda with us in January. I said, he says, I'm not taking no for an answer. I want you to go to Uganda with us. I'm thinking, how fast can they build a bridge, lay the rails, get all that worked out? He said, Pastor. He said, Pastor. Yeah. I said, do they put you to sleep? Do they sedate you? But anyway, he says, Pastor, this is going to be a great leap of faith for you. And I'm thinking as I'm driving down here, almost went off the road on Route 9 before I got to the church, because I stopped and picked up the stuff I was going to thought I'd need. And I said, God is so good, it was already here. I said, he says, go Monday and get your passport. Pastor, go get your passport. I said, I got to think about finding. God will provide. Oh, Jesus. I've been invited to go to Uganda. I got invited last year to go to Kenya. I just went let that go and went out together because I said, that's a whole lot of water between there and here and a whole lot of plane. So this year it's not taking no for an answer. It says we're leaving January 21st and we're coming back on February 1. You'll only miss one Sunday. Yeah, I might not have myself. That's what the word is. So I got to pray about that. So anyway, y'all pray because I'm thinking. But he was telling me all of the things. And the thing that really made me think about it, he says, when I go, he says what they're going to be doing, there's a lot of teaching, there's a lot of preaching. There are crusades. He said, the thing that struck me, he says, the people over there are always asking, where are the black folks? We don't see black folks. That just drove a knife right here. So now I got to do some serious praying. He said, and they want to see black men. So now I got to seriously think about that. But getting back to what I was saying, each of our churches is unique, has a unique personality, though we have some similarities. And we all have some mission projects that we do, right? We started off that way as mission projects, all of our churches, and you know the story from our earliest churches. Here, we have 2 of our churches here. We'll be celebrating our 150th anniversary this year. In fact, St. Luke and Wainwright are celebrating it on the same day. We are 150 years old and still growing strong. And just think, 150 years old, 2 missionaries came to the valley and started these churches so that our predecessors would worship of their own free will, helping to establish places for former slaves and some freed folks that have their own place to worship. And that's why I liked your message, because it made me think about it. They would not accept and bow down to a false gospel. They weren't drinking the Kool-Aid. They ain't gonna drink it now. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Not going to have that kind of bleach in our brainwashed water, because we're not accepting it. So, each of us have some similarities. Mission projects we develop will be shaped by our personality as a community of believers. Now, all of that starts because we get a passion for something. Now, I think about, what some of the things that were started, for example, at Wainwright. We saw something. There was a need. Somebody got a passion because folks were hungry. And so, it originated out of a need. And somebody said, we can at least fix some meals for some hungry folk. How can we make that happen? And I thought, that's a good idea. And that started out with some folks that when somebody was sick, they would just put together some food. They put a pot of beans on the stove, or some soup, or, I got certain people here that don't sleep too well at night, and they get up and they'll cook something. Or they'll call their posse. They'll call their posse and say, "You're going down to Costco, pick me up this, that, or the other." And they'll go right along and do it. And they'll get somebody else that, I ain't calling no names, but they like to hide their faces sitting on the end. And they'll say, "Can you come help me do this?" And they'll put something together, and the next thing you know, some things started happening. But then they realized they wanted to do something on a regular basis to feed the hungry folk. And so the next thing you know, the church started getting opened up on Tuesdays to feed the folks. And they started not calling it feeding the homeless, because that had a negative connotation, so they called it some. And so out of needs, things happen, whether it's weather-related, catastrophes, or feeding the homeless, or whatever your local church comes up with. And if it's weather-related, it could be something like Hurricane Katrina, or it could be a water crisis in West Virginia or in Flint, Michigan. And for example, in West Virginia, we had a water crisis, and folks decided we're going to get water because they can't get bottled water down in the southern part of West Virginia. So I think we raided every store in Charlestown and the surrounding area. And at that time I had a pickup truck. And Reverend, can you meet us down at the store? We've already paid for the water. You got a truck. Can you come load it up? Sure. I went down, loaded up the truck, and I got some more folks here, part of the posse. They were over there at the distribution center, had been there all day for a couple of days. Found out where they were distributing the water to go to the southern part of West Virginia. I went over there, they've been loading up trucks all day long. And over there was baby food, there was, you know, all the other stuff. I'm thinking, oh my God, when I went in and saw all this stuff and it had been collected all from the Tri-County area to go down to the southern counties of West Virginia for that need. And out of that, I got to talk to some other folks to get with another area, and we talked about continuing that project. And so I was talking about the thing for the homeless. So Wainwright decided we're not calling it feeding the homeless, we call it some, so others may eat. And it continues on. Now I heard, I don't know whether I got it right, that's I'm going to put it down here, but I heard that there was something similar to that goes on out of St. Luke, am I right? In Clark County. And you all participate. I thank you, Jesus, I was right. I had it down. So it's something that you all work together with somebody else, right? So the church is together. So you see the same thing goes on over here. Or there's a food pantry. All right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be just you. You work with somebody else to make sure, to borrow a phrase from a country person, get her done. All right? Food pantry, clothing drive, nursing home ministries. All right? So there's a lot of folks, and so, you know, and out of that, some people have a passion for certain things because that's their thing. All right? And so those are the things that you get done. And so, let's look at how it's done. All right? So you got to have a plan. You got to figure out how it's done. You got to figure out how it's done. First of all, you got to assess the need. Okay? What's needed? All right? Do I have, or is it within my power, or the power, or our power, if you're working with somebody else, to meet the need? Are we strong enough to do it? We got this. We got this. If I don't have it by myself, got posse to help. Who is my posse? My brothers and sisters in Christ. We got this. All right? The other part is, can we count on other people to help? That's the boots on the ground. All right? All right? We have resources. You saw that one go by real quick. You know, what resources do we need? Do we have to shop for something? Do we have it on hand? Okay? And then can we count on the other people to help us? All right? My grandmother used to say, many hands make light work. Now, that's right. How else is it done? Is the project going to be a sustainable one? Or is it going to be a temporary one? Is this something that we're just going to do right now? Is it something that we have to take care of? But is it just going to be something that we need to do because it's a crisis right now? Or is it something that's going to be ongoing? Is it going to be a teaching thing? I picked this picture because that looks like my daughter. Don't it kind of look like Melanie? Yeah. So, looks like they're doing some teaching of some kind. Looks like there's a doctor over there ministering to some kids, all right? All right? Then out of that, will there be some other needs addressed? Now, case in point, I thought about something that happened during some. there was a little guy that used to come in, what was his name? Joey, yeah. And Joey kind of just melted the heart of a couple of folks there, all right? And there were some folks, they looked for Joey to come in, and they took a special interest in Joey, all right? And then they made sure Joey got some of the things that he needed. And then there were a couple of other situations where some folks didn't have a place to stay. And there's some folks that work in the senior citizens building, they managed to get the paperwork started, get the ball rolling, and got the person a place to actually live. Amen. All right? So other needs were met. We got some folks that know something about the healthcare business. Got the ball rolling to get some things in place to get them some of the help that they needed. And I think Joey was one of them. Am I right, y'all? All right. So other needs get addressed out of you doing some mission projects, and that goes along with what you were doing. There are other things out of you doing one thing, supplying one thing, and then out of that, it snowballs into meeting other needs. Now, when we started we were the only ones doing it. And then it got to the place where it got to be, we were doing it every week, and it was wearing our folks out. And some other folks from some other churches, see, it makes a witness. Some other folks, other denominations, other churches saw it, and they decided, can we come help? And out of that decide, you know, we'd like to take one of those Tuesdays. And so the next thing you know, we didn't have to do it every Tuesday. Now, other folks are doing it. And so we're sharing the joy, sharing the witness, because we witness to other folks. Other folks are starting to do it now as well.
Amen.
So that's letting our light so shine so that they may see our good works, glorifying God who is in heaven. And then God gets the glory because now other folks are getting an opportunity to minister as well. Okay, so how is it done? Same thing. The first thing Jesus did, this is my last slide. When Jesus fed the 5,000 and then later fed the 4,000, he addressed the immediate need, and then he was able to address the spiritual need. And see, by addressing the immediate needs, what the person actually needs, then the heart is open to address the spiritual needs. Thank you, man.
Thank Reverend Jackson for that wonderful presentation on how to develop mission program. So we are right on schedule. As I see, it's 12 o'clock.